Black lives don't matter, and everyone knows it. Nobody says it, and nobody does anything about it. The media knows that black lives don't matter. Human rights organizations know that black lives don't matter. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Bill Morgans, they all know that black lives don't matter. Because if they did, if black lives truly mattered, we would all be talking about Sudan. There would be massive demonstration. It would dominate the headlines, but it doesn't. What's happening in Sudan is horrifying. The civil war there is the deadliest conflict in the world right now, and at the same time, the most ignored. Since the fighting broke out 2 years ago, April 23, between the Sudanese army and the RSF militias, the country has fallen into chaos. What began as power struggle between two generals has become a war that is wiping out an entire nation. The human cost is enormous. Estimates vary, but by now between 150 and 190,000 people have been killed. 12 million have been forced from their homes. In the capital, Khartoum, at least 60,000 people have died. On top of that, tens of thousands more have died from hunger and diseases, including a cholera outbreak that started in late 24 and killed thousands. One of the worst disasters right now is in the city of El-Fasher in North Darfur. The RSF has kept the city under siege for more than a year. Nearly 1 million civilians in and around the city are trapped, cut off from humanitarian aid. At least 700,000 people are at immediate risk of starvation. Almost 40% of children under the age of 5 are malnourished. But Sudanese children don't open the evening news. The famine is happening right now, and nobody cares. No protest in London or Paris. Even Greta, yes, our beloved Greta, hasn't said a word about it. How can that be? And just to be 100% sure I'm right, I checked it right before filming. And here are the results. Al Jazeera, of course, no surprise, zero coverage on Sudan, tons of stories against Israel. BBC, zero coverage on Sudan, and of course against Israel. CNN, zero headlines on Sudan, one story against Israel. I even checked the channels of the biggest political podcasts in the world. Tucker Carlson, zero stories on Sudan, 3 against Israel. Piers Morgan, zero discussions on Sudan, 5 about Israel. How do you explain this madness? Why does the world rage about Gaza but stay silent about Sudan? Before I answer, let me add this. Sudan is almost 100 times bigger than Israel. And unlike Gaza or Israel, which have no natural resources, Sudan is rich in oil, gold, and precious metals. I point this out so nobody can dismiss it as just two tribes killing each other. Many powerful countries are involved in Sudan's war. So why isn't Sudan in the headlines while Gaza is? I think there are two main reasons. The first is the title of this video. In practice, Black lives don't matter. The second is the world's obsession with what the Jews are doing. And let me be clear, I wish it weren't this way. I wish people, the newspapers, the media, the big YouTubers and human rights organizations actually cared about Sudan, about Congo, about the crisis in Yemen. These are the biggest crises in the world right now by a mile. And I wish the world weren't so obsessed with the Jews. But I'm just describing the ugly reality. The ugly truth is that the world will march by the millions against Israel, but it won't lift a finger for Black Africans being starved or massacred. If you have another explanation, if you can tell me why in every city of Western Europe there were massive protests against Israel, but not a single major protest for Sudan, share it in the comments. Help me share the ugly truth. See you in the next one. Yalla bye.